shoes and food.
Song says, sitting at the dock of the bay, watching the time roll away. Yeah, I'm sitting at the dock of the bay, wasting time. Yo, that's like the most ridiculous song if you really listen to the words.
Yeah.
But it's a whole lot of people that's sitting by the dock of the bay.
Yeah, literally.
Wasting
in
time.
life. That's exactly what they're
as
doing.
we're getting older, I'm really understanding the value of time more than anything. I had a conversation with a young man about the prison system. And I told him, the only thing they really take from you is your time.
It's your time. That's
Your
right.
time. You lose your time. The time with your family, the time in your relationship, the time to pursue your dreams and your goals. So one poor decision can rob you of 10, 12, 15, 13 years of time.
Right.
Everybody isn't in a physical prison, but when we make poor decisions, it can rob us of time and put us in spiritual and emotional prisons with our health because of the things that we've done wrong. What has been a major transition for you over the years is understanding the importance of the time that you have?
Learning that I actually don't have as much time. I mean, that's the reality of it. I mean, you got to think about it, man. When we first got the Plaza, I moved back from New York. I was 26 years old. Okay. I would be 50 in less than 2 years.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
That time is gone.
It's gone.
All right. My kids were, obviously my son, he was 2 when I first started raising him. But my other 2 were not born. My daughter's graduating coming up. Man. That time is gone in a flash. So it's like, you start to really understand that you wake up every day like, I'm going to do this, 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 and this, but you might not have an opportunity to do that. So even now, like I'm putting things in place for my kids and stuff like that. People are like, you're only 48, right? You don't know how much time you got. So you got to get your house in order, man, because it's real out here.
Better get your house in order.
It's real in these streets.
Yo, man, I believe that a statement I heard from Bishop Rosie O'Neal, she's a pastor in I believe she's in North Carolina. I think so. If I'm wrong about that, Bishop, don't be mad at me. But she made a statement. She said, procrastination is the arrogant assumption that you can do tomorrow what you should do today.
Man.
That is a
That's
profound thought. It's an arrogant assumption that I have more time.
Yes.
I don't ever want to live my life assuming that tomorrow is guaranteed to me.
No.
Even though I do believe that God is going to keep me, my prayer is that whatever I'm doing, I maximize the time that I have, operate in my purpose, and fulfill what I'm here to do. Yeah. So I don't want to waste a lot of time, which would require me to accept, and some of you, that there are individuals who are time wasters.
Yes.
And you don't need to connect with them in any way whatsoever because they'll rob you of your time, your momentum, your dreams, your purpose. I think the two of us, as we've grown up over the years, we've learned that there are some individuals that are best removed. It isn't an insult to them as a person.
Right.
It isn't us saying they have no value or no worth, but they've obviously been somewhat of a hindrance to our progressions.
Yeah, I mean, you run into this all the time, obviously in your position and what you do for the ministry with people who literally are trying to like wear you down with their issues, their problems and things like that. And what they don't understand is they're one person. So it's not just them, but you're going to have 20 or 30 other people who might make the same attempt. So they're thinking to themselves, well, this is only 5 minutes of your day. But listen, I got to talk to some other people too. And that's going, weigh on me as well. So I don't think people understand it. They don't take that into consideration.
Yo, let's break down just what you just stated. People assume that because they need 5 minutes of your time, they're the only person that's asking for 5 minutes of your time.
That's right.
As a pastor, a leader, an influencer, there may be in one day 30 people that would require of me 5 minutes.
Exactly.
And it's never 5 minutes. It's always actually about 15 to 20 minutes that they need.
Right.
And that's the minimum.
Yeah.
Some of them will try to push beyond that, but let's just consider it in a natural sense. If 10 people ask me for 5 minutes, and each one of those people took up 6 minutes of my time, that's literally an hour of time that I have to spend with those people, but they're all giving me their individual problems, issues, their ideas, their concepts. So my spirit man is being depleted and drained.
That's right.
I have to live a life that's functional, a life that actually is advantageous as a pastor. I got a family, so I can't give everybody 5 minutes, no more than I could give everybody $50 that ask me.
That's right.
So they'll say, oh, YPJ got money. I only need $50. Yeah, but there are 30 other people that ask me for $50, and that turns into $1,500 quick to whereas now I've lost $5,000 a month dealing with people in their $50.
Exactly. And to them, it's small amounts for their individual situation. They don't look at the broad spectrum of what's happening.
Ever. And that's how we end up being depleted. You as a trainer, someone may say, well, you know what, Million? I just need to spend about 10 minutes with you, man, so you can kind of give me the breakdown. It never takes 10 minutes because they, first and foremost, don't understand how long a conversation has to last, the duration of it, for you to give them the proper information.
Proper information, that's right.
So at some point, we have to take control of our clock and say, I can only give this much time in this area.
That's right.
I can only give this much time in this area. Or you do look up and ask yourself, where did the time go?
That's right.
And I'm at a point now, man, where I just really realize that the day that I have is the same 24 hours everyone else has. And I have to utilize every minute of that day properly, even if I need to twiddle my thumbs.
Yeah.
Just for my own sanity
That's
and
right.
relaxation.
Sometimes you need to just do nothing.
Yeah.
Like at all. And also too, like for even people like ourselves who are always on the go.
Yeah.
You're constantly traveling, constantly moving. Myself, I'm doing for the plaza, I'm doing for our family, I'm doing for the gym. You have to take time for yourself mentally to recuperate. Because if you don't, if you're broken, how can you help anybody? If I'm physically weak, how can I help you do anything? I can't. So I have to take care of myself first to make sure that I can provide for everybody else. Period.
It's like when you get on an airplane and they give you the whole rundown of what happens if there's an issue. They say if the oxygen mask falls, put your mask on first before you can help somebody else.
That's right.
I have learned that if I am emotionally depleted, spiritually insensitive, and physically exhausted, whatever advice I'm about to give you is probably half of what you could have gotten if you would have just waited a day or two.
Right.
I'm at a point now where I realize, even as far as personal interactions, I can't waste a lot of time.
No.
So as you get older, you learn how to discern what's a healthy situation and what's probably not best for you. Even in dating, we're both still single. And I have learned as an older man that it doesn't take more than one engagement for me to figure out this is probably
not at
the
all.
best.
No.
You know, you can see possibility.
Right.
You say, okay, this may have some potential. Let's try this again. But if we interact once and I see your behavioral patterns, the way you talk to people, the way that you interrupt, you're conversationally dominant, let's not even waste time doing this again.
Because you've done it enough times to know that there's no change in this person. And this is going to cause a problem. We're going to butt heads. But that's in general with just people in general, like you were saying. I think we know at this point at our age and all that we've been through with the ministry, with different friendships, the types of people that we interact with, we can kind of read people off the gate. It's kind of a gift and a curse if you think about it. Because, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes it's like, man, I thought they was going to be cool. They're a jerk. I got to go.
You know what? And we have a tendency sometimes of hoping the best for people.
That's right.
So we see into their potential and not into their reality.
That's right.
Like, this is who they are in reality. That's their potential. Because I am a positive thinker and a person of faith, I want to look at your potential. But as you get older, you stop focusing so much on a person's potential and say, nah, they got potential, but at the moment, their behavior is completely contrary to anything that would be advantageous or beneficial for my personal life. I got to make a decision. And again, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're a bad person. They're just bad for me.
That's right.
I've seen two good people come together and be bad for each other.
That's right.
And they waste each other's time. So why waste your time in your feelings? I don't want to live another day where I'm doing something. I know there are times we got to do stuff we don't want to do, but I'm talking about anything that I have control over not doing. I don't want to do it, man.
Not doing it.
I went to the gym the other day, and while I was in there working out, I said, you know what, God, I am here to make sure that my breathing is well. I'm down to the proper weight that I should be, get my blood circulation going. I have no desire, because the TV was on and the bodybuilders were up there. I said, I have no desire to do that.
Right.
That's
not where you're at with that.
If I go to the gym and I'm like, yo, man, I want to do that, that is going to be a waste of time for me. Because I'm not going to commit. I'm not going to do the things that are necessary. Right. So even if I spend the next year trying to get to that point, I'm going to give up at some point because I'm not called to do that.
Right.
Now I've wasted a year trying to do something that I'm not assigned to do instead of just staying in my lane. I think many people waste time outside of their lane pursuing something that has nothing to do with their purpose. How many people are still trying to cut an album and they're not called to be an artist? How many people are still trying to start a business in an area that they're not called to start a business in? Listen, bro, I'll never forget this. No disrespect, but there was an individual in the city that started a cupcake business, right? Okay. And they left behind. I hope not. I doubt it. They're probably somewhere trying to recover from their failed business. They left behind an amazing establishment where they were literally booming in the city to pursue their own desire.
Right.
And I get it. We all have our desires, but you got to make sure that you're doing the primary thing, and then the secondary things needs to be more of a hobby. So anyway, this person tells me, I'm about to leave this. I'm going to start this cupcake business. And I was young, so I'm like, oh, man, follow your dreams. That was the worst advice I ever gave. So, needless to say, they started the cupcake business. So me being the person that I am, I'm going to go down and support. Ladies and gentlemen, those cupcakes taste like cornbread with icing on them. I'm talking about grandma's cornbread you put with greens.
Oh,
It
my
tastes like
gosh.
cornbread. So I thought I was tripping. Mom went. She came back. She was like, I went to that cupcake place. It tastes like dry cornbread with icing on it. I saw some of his former coworkers. And I was like, hey, how's so-and-so doing? They're like, oh, yeah, he shut that down. He left. And they were like, did you taste those cupcakes? I was like, yeah. They were like, they taste like dry cornbread. I was like, yo.
So it wasn't just you.
My thing is, you didn't let nobody taste your recipe before you actually went into this business to try to start that out. Listen, y'all, don't take that on some of y'all. You said you shoot down somebody's dreams. You said you shoot. Listen, y'all, if I bake cakes and they taste like roast beef, then I should be making roast beef and not cakes.
That's right, exactly.
The cake tastes like bacon. I should be making bacon, not baking cakes.
Oh,
man, but I think he wasted. I'm just being real. He wasted time and money.
Yeah.
Because I don't believe he had the proper counsel. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think people need to know this ain't what I'm called to do, and I don't want to waste time in this relationship, in this business venture, trying to do something I'm not anointed to do or called to do, because at the end of the day, it's not going to amount to anything.
No, not at all. And there's so many people that they start so many different projects over the years because they're not qualified to do these things. And so they start this business and they stop this business. And they start this business and they stop. And it's like back and forth because they haven't found their groove and where they need to be at to continue to be successful, man. Yeah. And before they know it, 15 years is gone. You know what I'm saying?
Man.
20 years is gone.
20 years is gone.
So man, it's crazy.
You wake up and you go, where did the time go?
Yes.
And it's because a lot of times we have our head down,
Yep.
just pursuing the quick get rich quick scheme, or how do I get the next dollar? I saw a documentary on a young man who was really good at basketball. I'm talking about this dude was naturally gifted. He was the #1 player in the country.
Right.
But he said he didn't like basketball. He's like, I didn't really like basketball. Okay, you don't like basketball, but you're really good at it.
Yeah.
So that could point towards you being a multi-millionaire in an area that you're really good. Well, I want to be a rapper. Yeah, but you don't rap well. So needless to say, his rap career didn't pan out and he didn't play basketball. But we had a dear friend of ours in the city, I won't say his name, rest in peace, who was a phenomenal basketball player.
Right.
But he wanted to be a drug dealer.
Yeah.
He wanted to
You
run
want
the
to be in the
streets.
streets, yeah.
They had
It's
NBA teams
unfortunate.
literally calling him saying, man, we want you to try out. And he's like, nah, I want the street life.
He
And
was given tryouts that people literally would give their left arm to have, and he passed on it because the streets was more important than
And the streets ultimately was his demise, just like that the lifestyle that he lived in. I think so many people don't realize if God has gifted you in an area, spend your time in that area.
That's right.
Because even if you're like, well, I don't like, take basketball, for example. If a person's really good at it and they get a Division I scholarship, well, maybe God is using that to get you to the place where you can be educated. I don't really like basketball, but you're really good at it naturally.
And you can use that to launch on to something else.
To
like
something else, bro.
springboard,
And there's so many other skills and abilities and gifts. I've seen young women who are incredibly skilled at hair and barbers that are skilled to cut. I don't really want to do that. That just might be the initial introduction to whatever it is you're called to do. David was a shepherd first.
Yeah.
Then he ended up being in the army as a warrior. Then he becomes a general. Then from there he becomes a king over a certain region. Then he's the king over all of Israel. Yeah. You go from one place to another and you got to follow the proper procedure or you're going to waste time bouncing all over here trying to do a million different things. I mean, think about you as a person who does physical fitness. You didn't just start working out and then you had a gym.
No.
You know what I mean? Like you used to work at a gym.
No, I started out at a gym. I mean, one of my first jobs was, well, besides the factory, was I was the head trainer at World Gym Fitness Center for many, many years. And made a lot of different relationships and learned a lot of different things. But it wasn't like I just woke up one day and was like, yeah, man, I'm going to lift weights, then I'm going to become this. It took years. I'm talking many years where I was struggling a lot of times, even with fitness. There were times that I just like, why am I doing this? Yeah. Like, why am I, like, I understand that I'm in shape and I'm doing this for myself as far as physically, but at the end of the day, when you're under, 300 pounds in the gym, you're thinking, why am I doing this? And it wasn't about myself physically as per se, or my, my physical look or any of that. Yeah. I was gaining knowledge along the way that was preparing me for Fam Fit and preparing me to be able to counsel people in fitness and in nutrition and all these things. But if I had looked at it selfishly, I'm just thinking, God, why? I don't care about this anymore. Why am I doing this? It's not about you. I'm doing this for you, for the future, for all the people that you're going to help,
that you're going to impact
and change their lives. And that's you got to. And it's even with you. When you first started out, you probably thinking to yourself, I don't want to be no preacher, man. Like this
ever. I never wanted to be a preacher.
You know what I'm saying? People, they think they really don't understand the fact that you took on that mantle not really wanting to do that, and the fear that comes behind that. And thank God for you, because as we all know, I was never going to be that. I minister in my own way, but thank God for my brother. But it takes time, bro. It's not. This is a process, y'all. Everything is a process.
If you're gonna spend your time, let it be committed to the thing that's gonna bring you to an
That's right.
expected end.
Amen.
Don't waste your time pursuing things that are not, and then the first thing people say, well, how do I know? It's pretty obvious.
Yes.
Like
Some
when
stuff is
you're dealing
obvious.
with some certain things, you just know, like, I'm not called to do this. Like, both of us were athletic. We both played sports. We were athletes. We had a
Yes.
good time. But at one point or another, we both realized that's not what we're going to do.
Listen, my coach, I never forget my coach told me this when I tried out for basketball. He said, you the fastest on the team. You can jump higher than anybody on the team. But your skill level for basketball is just not there. And at the time, I wasn't even into basketball enough to want to become that. So it's like, you got to know that, okay, no, I could have been like, no, man, I'm gonna figure it out myself. I'm going to be the next Jordan. I was never going to be that. So it's like, you got to know what your strengths are. Like,
You don't
like,
tell
nah.
me what I can do, coach. I'm going to make it. You'll see. And then now you 60 years old.
Trying to still thinking I'm going to play for somebody. Like,
Dude,
nah.
it's pretty obvious, man. One thing is for certain, when God is giving you a gift and you begin to operate in that area, there is going to be some aspect of success that will begin to attract to you.
Yes.
Like, I didn't want to be a preacher. I didn't want to be a pastor. I desired to be a musician. You know that I wanted to be a producer and a musician.
Right.
That was the primary goal and focus. So over the years, the way I knew that God had called me to ministry was he would always open bigger doors for me. I
right.
never brown nosed. I never pursued it from the standpoint of a person that was an opportunist. I didn't have the opportunistic spirit of, I'm going to go here and there and I'm going to get convinced this person. All I did was preach, study. Dad taught me to study the word, to teach, to learn my delivery, work on my cadence.
Yeah.
And then over the years, God just kept expanding me.
That's
It
right.
was the proof that this is where you've been called to be. There is no rhyme or reason to why you now have one of the greatest facilities in the area for physical fitness beyond the fact that God breathed on it and blessed it, because this is what he had called you to do, to inform the African-American community
Yes.
about our health, why we're getting sick, why it's so important for us to exercise, why we got to change some of our eating habits and routines. All of that's really important.
It's very important. I mean, it's it's a situation where it's like, I think it just comes with time, bro. Like we're saying, I mean, we have the knowledge now over the years as to what we need to do. Like whether it's with our personal lives, whether it's with our relationships, but it comes with time because we've all made mistakes. I mean, I think of the relationships I had in my 20s, like friendships that I have, and people that I felt betrayed me or whatever. I didn't know how to read those signals and things like that at the time as to see what was happening. And in your mind, you're thinking these are going to be people that are going to ride with you for life. And they had their own agendas and their own things that they wanted to do. And it's hurtful.
It
But
is.
once you learn that, you definitely don't go back. That's why we don't allow people at this point. We know who you are. So we're not going to let you waste our time.
You cut that out. Don't even worry about it. It ain't going to happen. We've all wasted time. Everybody has wasted time. A lot of it was because of a lack of knowledge and understanding. We made poor decisions.
Yes.
But there comes a point where you got to stop making those same decisions and say, you know what? Not another day.
Yeah.
Not another day. I'm not going to waste another moment, another minute. I am going to focus on what God has called me to do.
Amen.
Any relationship, any interaction, any involvement that's toxic for me and a hindrance for me, I'm not doing that. I'm not going to waste anybody else's time.
That's that too.
That's a big thing, man.
That's a big thing too, is because we ourselves can be toxic without even knowing it.
Yes,
and it
sir.
doesn't mean that when you say toxic, it doesn't mean that you're a toxic person.
Right.
You might be having a bad day and be toxic for whatever reason.
Or unhealed in a certain area.
Unhealed, exactly. That's another thing.
Yeah.
Unhealed. I mean, I think I went through that for some years too, even just things that I was dealing with mentally or whatever. I was doing things that I didn't realize were hurting other people, but it was somehow helping me to cope and deal. But I was hurting them. So you're right. Sometimes you got to pull yourself out of the situation. Like, I'm not helping you.
No, yeah.
Get out of here.
I'm not able to
Don't waste your
benefit you
time.
because I got to get my stuff together.
That's right.
I have had moments in my life where I've had to explain to individuals, any interaction with me is going to be a waste of your time.
Yes.
Because what you want, I don't want that. I've had people say to me, well, I think you're great, but I want you to know I'm ready to get married now. Well, there's no reason for us to have any more conversations. Well, and I'm a good woman. I didn't discredit the quality of character that you possess. I was honest with you that I have absolutely no desire to talk marriage with you. I don't even know you. So let's not waste each other's time because we're not on the same page.
Not even.
But some people are so narcissistic and self-consumed to believe that they're so amazing that they would rather waste time trying to prove to a person that I am this and I am that, instead of saying, thank you for being honest. Let's go our separate ways. Yeah. I'm over it, man. Life is short. And the reason why it's short is because we waste too much time. That's right. But the more intentional that we live life, no matter how long life is so fulfilling. Every day I wake up, man, that I'm doing what I'm called to do, there is a level of fulfillment. Because I don't ever want to be sitting at the dock of the bay, wasting time. Shoes and food.
Hey, what's going on, y'all? We rocking the peppermint ones today. You know what I'm saying? I also got on my baby sisters, Profound, Garrett, Mickey Miller. Shoes and food, y'all. Peace.
Shoes and food.